It's around 2:30 a.m. on November 28, 1953, in New York City. Outside the Hotel Statler, a man crashes through a window from room 1018A, falling more than 10 stories before hitting the sidewalk. The night manager rushes over to find the man, wearing only his underwear, lying motionless. He dies shortly after. His name is Frank Rudolph Olson. In the official version of events, he committed suicide by jumping from his hotel window. Olson, born on July 17, 1910, was a bacteriologist and civilian scientist at the U.S. Army Biological Warfare Laboratories at Fort Detrick, Maryland. He was also involved in classified CIA projects, including experiments related to biological weapons and mind control. 9 days before his death, Olson had attended a gathering at a cabin on Deep Creek Lake. This was a semi-monthly retreat for top scientists and CIA figures involved in covert LSD experiments, which were part of research later collectively known as MKUltra. On the evening of November 19, shortly after 7:30 p.m., Olson was secretly given a potential truth serum, which, decades later, would be revealed as LSD. The next morning, Olson returned home a changed man. During dinner with his family, he seemed distant and refused to eat. Out of nowhere, he said, "I've made a terrible mistake." From there, Olson's anxiety only grew. His boss, Lieutenant Colonel Vincent Ruett, recalled Olson being so agitated that he either wanted to quit or be fired. The following day, Olson was described as disoriented and felt all mixed up about his work. On November 24, Olson returned home unexpectedly with a coworker and told his wife, "They're afraid I might hurt you." Olson had agreed to seek psychiatric help. On the same day, Olson, Ruett, and CIA chemist Robert Lashbrook flew to New York City. They met with Harold Abramson, a medical doctor tied to the CIA, who had previously collaborated with Olson on aerosolization studies. On November 27th, Olson was still in New York, sharing room 1018A with Lashbrook in the Hotel Statler. Around 2 a.m. on Saturday, November 28, Olson plunged out of the hotel window. When police entered the room, they found Lashbrook sitting on the toilet. The hotel switchboard operator later reported connecting a brief phone call from that same room listed as belonging to Dr. Harold Abramson. According to her, she overheard someone say, "Well, he's gone," and the person on the other end replied, "Well, that's too bad." For investigators, it initially appeared to be an open and shut case. Olson had either jumped or fallen through a closed window. Olson's family did not learn about the LSD dose until 1975. That year, the Rockefeller Commission and the Church Committee began probing illegal CIA activities. It turned out Olson's drugging was part of a larger program, Project MKUltra. This program was founded in response to fears of communist brainwashing during the Korean War. At the time, the US grew alarmed when American prisoners of war in Chinese captivity made strange confessions, suggesting they might have been brainwashed. Some prisoners even chose to remain with the enemy after being freed, fueling suspicions that the Soviets and Chinese had discovered methods to control human behavior. This concern helped trigger the CIA's creation of MKUltra, which aimed to understand and counter potential mind control techniques. The project sought to determine if it was possible to alter a person's behavior, perhaps even program them to carry out an assassination or forget entire events. Built on earlier efforts codenamed Project Bluebird and Project Artichoke, MKUltra was led by CIA chemist Sidney Gottlieb under director Alan Dulles. It operated through more than 80 colleges, hospitals, prisons, and front organizations, often without the participants' knowledge or consent. Techniques included covertly administering high doses of psychoactive drugs and other chemicals, as well as using electroshocks, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and isolation. MKUltra was not a single project, but a network of many smaller initiatives. Among the most infamous was Operation Midnight Climax, in which the CIA, working through federal narcotics officer and consultant George Hunter White, set up covert safe houses in key locations such as San Francisco and New York. Here, prostitutes on the agency payroll lured unsuspecting men who were sometimes secretly dosed with LSD. From behind one-way mirrors, CIA operatives observed and recorded these encounters, documenting not only drug-induced behavior, but also intimate personal details. MKUltra researchers initially saw LSD as a tool for interrogation and mind control, but the drug soon spread beyond government labs and into the general public. Some historians believe these early CIA-funded experiments helped kickstart the 1960s psychedelic movement by introducing LSD to college campuses, artists, and intellectuals. One individual later linked to experiments with similarities to MKUltra methods was Ted Kaczynski, the future Unabomber, who participated in controversial psychological studies during his time at Harvard. In California, Ken Kesey, a volunteer in drug trials, hosted acid tests with his merry pranksters, combining psychedelics with social gatherings. By the mid-1960s, LSD-fueled events became common, inspiring the hippie generation to question authority and societal norms. In 1976, the US government reached a settlement with Frank Olson's family, which included formal apologies from President Gerald Ford and CIA Director William Colby, along with $750,000 in compensation. However, Olson's son, Eric, was not convinced by the official account that his father died by suicide. In 1994, Eric had his father's body exhumed for a second autopsy. Forensic scientist James E. Starrs concluded that the injuries were rankly and starkly suggestive of homicide. Despite the new evidence, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office opened an investigation in 1996, but found insufficient proof to pursue charges. Eric Olson continues to believe that his father's death was not a suicide, but potentially linked to sensitive information Olson may have known about the CIA's covert operations.